Hello and welcome to Marketers Radio. This is episode number one, where myself, Chris Cole, and Mark Salmon are going to obviously be bringing you a lot of fantastic content. And now, this particular episode is just the introduction episode where you're going to get to meet myself and, of course, Mark Salmon from Marketers Radio. Now, obviously, we're going to explain who we are, what we're interested in, and why we wanted to bring this show to you. And obviously, we hope you sort of enjoy this content as we sort of build it out and grow this. So I would like to welcome Mark Salmon to the call. How you doing, Mark?
Thanks, Chris. I'm based in Stratford-upon-Avon in England. Chris, you're over in Northern Ireland, somewhere near Belfast, aren't you?
Yes, I am indeed. I am indeed.
Absolutely. And we've never actually met physically together, so we're partners in business, but we've always done our business online together. And we are meeting this autumn, hopefully, so we're looking forward to that. But it is an example of how business can be done nowadays, where you can form partnerships across the ether, basically. And so in this episode, we thought that it would be helpful if we just covered how we each got into internet marketing, because obviously there's a story behind that, which may or may not resonate with the people that are listening to this. So Chris, do you want to just start off and just run through where you start how you came to get into internet marketing, online business, and so on?
Okay. A lot of the things that I drew me online are a lot of the cliche things, but my initial ever experience with coming online was I had a business and I basically went through BT at the time. They offered a sort of a website service. It was an all-in-one thing for this business. Now the business itself was a restaurant food-based business, and what I wanted to do was get a website up for the business and get the menu on there, and I found this simple website builder quite restrictive. But it basically drew me into building websites. I wanted to get an online presence, and I thought I was tech savvy enough to do it myself. Looking back on it now, it was the wrong option. It was the wrong choice for me and what we needed in our business, but it was enough to draw me into the online world, where I'd started to open my eyes to the possibilities. I started to research in the forums. You start to find out that people start to then to refer to, you can make money online. And I'm thinking, well, I'm struggling here with an offline business. I'm trying to draw attention, and there's these guys on here who are claiming that there's money that could be made by marketing your business online. So naturally I wanted to know a lot more. And then you started to delve further into it, and you hear of people talking about the laptop lifestyle. You hear of people talking about sort of simple click riches and things, and it basically draws you in. And I'm sure there's many other people have the exact same story as me, but I basically get drew in from having an online business, having an offline business, sorry, looking to get an online presence, and that's what then drew me into starting to be online, and that was now well over 5 years ago, and I've basically been working at this flat out ever since then.
Yeah, my story is slightly different. I want to go back a little bit further, because I've always had an interest in business, Chris, because I had 25 years in corporate banking, much to my regret. But within that time, obviously I've dealt in that time with thousands of businesses, and you had a customer like yourself, Chris, who perhaps had a restaurant across the desk, and I always wondered whether I could actually do what they were doing in terms of running my own business. Okay, I was advising them and so on, but it always seemed to me that I wanted to be my own boss, and so I really empathized with my customers, and as a result I had sort of some great relationships with my customers. And it came to the point where the bank's strategy was changing, in that they were imposing sales targets. They got them into their mind that they could deregulate and sell all sorts of other services. and they sort of became a very sales-related culture, which almost ignored the needs of the customer and in favor of the needs of the bank. And so people were pursuing all these targets, and you know, the mis-selling crisis was inevitable. And so I actually left in 2001 as a result of that. I'd seen the writing on the wall for some years, and I'd been saving to the day when I was going to leave. I knew it in my heart that I was going to leave. And I got into business consulting, and initially I did that in partnership with an accountant customer of mine who wanted to open up a sort of a consulting unit. And so I started in consulting, and then the interesting thing about it was that I started with the relationships that I had with my existing customers, and I initially sold all my business, you know, and then I moved on from there, and I became more and more confident in my marketing ability because I was reading people like Dan Kennedy, and you know, some of the like what's his name? I'll come Jay Abraham. Jay Abraham was another real influence, and I became very, very confident in my marketing ability, to the point that I came across one day a manufacturing company in liquidation, and stupidly I sort of decided that I was going to see if I could restart this business. I say stupidly because it got £90,000 worth of rent and rates per annum, no product, no employees, obviously no customers. And what I discovered when I took the company over, that got the suppliers wouldn't supply the previous suppliers wouldn't supply the company for obvious reasons. They lost money, and so it was really my back against the wall, and I had to go to Italy and Spain to supply to get the resources. I had to borrow some money from the bank and all sorts of things, and luckily one of my former colleagues actually backed me. And obviously in setting up the business, we had to set up a website, and because we wanted to generate leads online. So I didn't know how to do that, so I outsourced it to a guy in South Africa who I'd never met before, but was a recommendation from somebody, and he set the site up, and then I also outsourced the AdWords marketing and so on. It cost us a fortune, in all honesty, per lead, but within 6 months we were generating leads of about £500,000 a year, which we needed to do to cover the overhead. But we actually managed to get a product out to the door sort of after 3 or 4 months, and we actually went to the Ideal Home exhibition, and in a stroke of luck, one of our big competitors came and looked at the product, and they were manufacturing a board and wanted, part of their strategy was to have a manufacturing unit in the UK, and they mystery shopped our factory, looked at it, and our factory happened to be only a few miles from where the chief executive lived anyway, even though they were based down south. And I had a phone call when I got back from the Ideal Home exhibition saying we want to buy the business, and I said, my immediate reaction, well, it's not for sale. But I went to see the business, and you know, in the end, we decided to sell. I sold for a nice profit, but I actually made the mistake of trying to. I negotiated a contract to sell the product that they were manufacturing, and suffice it to say, the supplies of the product that we were going to sell just dried up, because they actually changed all the suppliers. They changed from Spain to China, and so suffice it, I had to close that down and move on. And I bought a bookkeeping franchise, then quickly realized it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And then somebody actually suggested a network marketing opportunity, got into that, and then as a result of that, I thought, again, I want to generate leads online, which is how I then bought a training by a lady called Anne Sieg, which was specifically for internet marketers, for network marketers. And that's how I got into internet marketing, Chris. It's a long story, but that was the path that I followed. And I can date back how to the 9th of April 2009 was when I actually bought that training. And as luck would have it, they offered 3 website building routes, and I chose WordPress, knowing nothing really, and to this day, I know I made the right choice because we both use WordPress, Chris. So that was just luck, to be honest. And really then started to get into WordPress, quickly dropped the network marketing and realized that I wanted to, firstly I thought, well, I'm going to help offline businesses to get online, and that was the route that I took initially. And so I'm sorry that's a long explanation, but that's really the route I took into internet marketing. But, you know, behind that is that, you know, you mentioned, Chris, some sort of generic reasons for actually wanting to be in a sort of online business, and that was that, you know, things like working from home, so there was no commute, was important to me. You know, I'd been commuting all my corporate life, 25 years commuting, seeing customers, commuting to work. You know, suffice it to say, with the build-up of traffic on the roads in the UK, and so I just didn't want that. I also, having had that manufacturing company, I wanted low overheads. I didn't want that burden of overheads. I also wanted to be able to move to any location and relocate myself if I needed to. I wanted to be able to transcend local markets because, you know, in my business career, Chris, I'd been through a number of recessions with the bank and saw how, you know, businesses dropped off and died and had all sorts of problems. So I wanted to be able to transcend local markets, and I thought if I did online business, I could actually do business in any English-speaking country if I just mastered the skills, and so that was important. I also come from a service background, Chris, and, you know, I wanted to create a legacy, my own products. I wanted to exercise more creativity about the way I did things, because I very much feel that was suppressed in my sort of corporate life, and so it was be something that, you know, I made for myself. It was a sort of a legacy, if you like, and so it was also all about having freedom from having a boss and a job, and actually building out somebody else's strategy or vision for a business. I wanted to, you know, I was generating well over £1 million a year for the bank from my customer base, and I felt I'd built that up from when I initially took over my portfolio from a 300,000 loss to £1 million profit, and I felt strongly that I could do it for myself, and so. You know, that's really why I sort of, the online marketing space was so attractive to me, Chris. You know, what about yourself? Did you have similar thoughts, you know?
As you said, there's the freedom from the boss and the job. I still actually do have a job, and I also have debts, and that's the reason why I'm sort of, to a certain extent, still handcuffed to my job, but the dream is to eventually push it that where I can more than replace my current income from a job, and have this over a consistent basis of, say, 6 months or a year before I even consider giving my job up. I do know it is possible to do this online. Obviously, we are generating income between ourselves and on our own individual sort of efforts. But at the moment, it's not, for me personally, it's not at a comfortable level where I could consider giving up my job. The reason being is I have been bitten in the past. I mentioned the business, and that business actually went under. Basically, what happened with us was we opened the doors. It was a catering and a food business with a lot of employees. We opened the door just as the news of the recession was breaking, and basically everybody in our town started to lose their jobs. The recession really bit in, and people basically didn't have the money to be ordering or buying takeaways or dining out. And we did push as hard as we could, and we did survive around 2 years. But it basically, with the length and the depth that this recession went to, there just seemed to be no let up, and the costs were mounting. You know, our wages were mounting, our staff our VAT bill was, you know, everything just compounded to the point where it was financially, it was a financially better option to basically bite the bullet and wrap the business up in that status than it would be to try and put us through anymore. And the stress levels in the family and everything else that was involved in it just turned into a complete nightmare from what was a good dream. And obviously, as a result of that, we also lost the money that we'd invested in it, and there was repercussions. So that's mainly what's driven me towards the online. One of the major things for me, if you can see an angle with online business, there's very low startup costs. The cost of, say, hosting, and for several $100s or several £100 sterling, because we're both in the UK, you can have your own online business up and underway. Now, what that business is hopefully what we're going to cover further in the series, because we have sampled quite a lot of different things, and we have been generating income, and we're going to be covering that and obviously talking to different people about how you can make money. And not only that, but it's also, if you already have a business and you're looking to grow your online presence, well, then we're also going to be looking at tips and strategies where you can do that, and you can learn from the knowledge that Mark and I have picked up over the last 5 years. We've both been heavily involved in business. I still have another business that has been going ongoing. I basically have a property business as well, where I've been a landlord now for about 12 years. We have a relatively sizable portfolio. The other thing, as you know, with the recession, property values have dropped as well. So we went from sitting very, very sweet to the property values tightening up, and it's just a matter of riding it out with the property values. Luckily enough, we weren't leveraged too far that everything was took from below us, so we're still here. We're still struggling on as you do, but I still have the business side of things as well, and a lot of better experience that I can use to drive myself forward, and also hopefully steer other people away. So that's one of the things that I have found that I've wanted to do with online. I've sort of seen the opportunity where you can grow and enhance business. You can set up a brand new business for next to nothing, and you can also help people who have a business. They want to basically learn tips and tricks as to how they can grow their income and grow their exposure online. So that's really what drew me into the why marketing online. One, obviously to help ourselves, and two, because I actually do enjoy helping other people. Would quite happily help another business. If my knowledge, if I can impart my knowledge to another business, that could be the factor that makes or breaks their business. That's all I would want in return, is just to get that sort of feedback. I'd be happy with that.
You see, that really is the thread that has run through my entire career, to be honest, Chris, is, in corporate banking, consulting, and now in internet marketing. I've always been in a customer advisory role. So in a sense, I'm not leaving what I was doing before. I'm just doing it. I'm just delivering it in a different way, which is online rather than offline. And obviously, there is a different set of skills, And one of the things that you mentioned there, Chris, was managing cash flow and so on, and that is a skill in itself, because that was one of the things I had to do in the bank, was management information systems and all that, and getting management information from customers, understanding that, and actually, but that's not a when you come into creative business or building a business, it's not something that. Not everybody's going to have those skills, and so in many ways, online marketing, because you often get paid up front and so on, manages its own cash flow in a sense, and you don't have the problems of managing stock and creditors and all that sort of thing. But so there are other challenges within online marketing that you don't have offline as well. So on the other hand, there are some similarities as well. So we'll go through those as we go through future sessions. So between the two of us, we should have a good mix of experience, Chris.
Yes. I agree.
And I think the interesting thing as we go through this series is probably actually discussing some of the actual experiences we've had and how they relate to what we're talking about, because that will actually bring the story alive in a sense, Chris.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the challenges that online business faces, Chris, because we've both. It's very much a journey, in my view. At the outset, you don't realise that you are on a journey, and necessarily you're looking for. They call it the easy button. And it takes you a while to understand that there really isn't one. There isn't. There is a relatively simple process, but it's so simple that you almost overlook that, and you're looking for the secret. I don't know whether you were the same.
That's right. It's the misinformation. A lot of people come online thinking this is going to be really easy.
Yeah.
And they're looking for the secret to be revealed, and the secret is so simple, it's unbelievable. It's simply take action, be yourself, and be ethical, and provide value when you're working online.
Yeah.
Obviously, on top of that, then you're going to have to acquire skills. That's where maybe the people start to struggle. They'll look at that and they'll realise I need to learn WordPress, as you've mentioned. What's this about building a mailing list? I've never heard of it. SEO, I don't even know anything about SEO. How do I learn all of this? And it takes you a long time to learn this, especially if you're a local business or somebody new coming online. You're going to find that you're overwhelmed and very quickly overwhelmed, and it's not a nice feeling. I've been there. I've struggled to put websites up when I initially started. I can actually remember my very first income that I made after having sort of pushed my websites out online, and this was after the business itself had closed. I didn't really have an easy business plan at all, and what I also found was because I lacked so much in information, or felt that I lacked so much in information, that I was all consuming, which is also referred to the shiny object syndrome. There was people were selling get rich quick not the really get rich quick schemes, but buy my report and I'll reveal a way where you can make money. And other guys were saying, no, this is the strategy, and it's the me too. It's a lot of market noise going on, and you actually end up getting drawn into all these different avenues, and you really don't go anywhere. And that's when I found it happened to me. And by doing that, these were basically the distractions. It leaves you going round in circles, literally going round in circles. You only sample a little bit of everything, but you don't actually produce anything as you're going around this. And that's one of the major challenges that people find. And that's even as applicable to people who have even a local restaurant themselves, or even a local garage, or whatever type of business. You're once you start to go into this online field, you're going to find that there's a lot of information that you don't actually know, and it's going to seem very overwhelming at first. And like Mark says, it's a journey, and you've got to learn this journey. And what you should really do is latch on to latch on to us if you want. Listen to our shows, because we're going to deliver you a lot of information, tips and ideas where you can basically grow your knowledge. And if you want, come across to our website and drop in any questions you have. And if we'll try and answer the feedback. What we'll also do is we'll look at maybe if it's something that's very relevant, we'll maybe look at putting a full show out to cover that topic to hopefully help you out as well. Yeah. So that's hopefully helps people through with their challenges with marketing themselves online.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chris. I mean, as soon as you start to get onto other marketers' lists, or indeed get introduced to the online marketers forum, such as the Warriors Forum, suddenly you get all these messages about what you should be doing and should be buying, and at that point you really don't know what you're doing. And I call it death by 1,000 cuts, because you're buying all these little $7, $27 products and so on, and they mount up over a period of time, and you find many people have spent thousands and thousands of dollars online and still haven't taken action on the first thing.
I've spent the thousands and thousands of dollars. I've just put my hand up to signify that I have also done that as well, Mark. And I'm sure you have.
I have, yes.
I like to refer to it as my university education, my online university education. I have basically paid my tutorial fees, and I've paid to go through the online university and learn my skills.
Yeah, but what we can help other people to do is perhaps shortcut. So you'll probably still go through a similar journey, but hopefully not quite as expensive or painful if you're listening to our sessions, because we'll share our experiences with you and gladly share them. And obviously, if you want to message us at all or want some advice, then of course do that, because as I say, at the end of the day, I think the smartest thing that I could have done when I started was to get an online coach. But they're sort of at the cost of $1,000 or $2,000 or something. It seemed an overwhelming cost, and you try to go the cheap route of buying these little reports and so on. And now looking back with the experience I've got now, it would have been the smartest investment I made. Really, if I'd spent $2,000, $5,000 on a coach, provided you get the right coach, would have been an excellent investment, and would have saved me a lot of time and expense. Chris, do you feel the same, or?
I certainly do.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're trying to take what you think is a cheap option for your business, and you know, if you start to go down these different avenues and you're spending money, you're really not getting anywhere. And it is, as I've already said, I've already revealed the secret. There is no big secret to making money apart from taking action, delivering value, and being ethical. The other skills have to mesh in behind, but a lot of that content is freely available out on the internet if you want to go and do the research, or if you want to obviously subscribe to us and listen to our shows. We're going to be covering a lot of these topics as the show moves forward, and we're going to be going down different avenues that we've both explored. Some of them may be applicable to you and your business, some of them may not, but there's always, if you listen to even to the ones that you maybe feel aren't applicable, there's always little nuggets in there that you can maybe take and apply across into your business as well. That's what I found personally.
Yeah.
But some of the things you've got to look at is where the online marketing sort of avenues now going. The internet, as I say, is still only in its infancy. It's still growing, and people are only starting to trust purchasing and buying things online. The money that's now starting to be generated and the revenue that's running within the online websites is serious money nowadays compared to what it was 10 years ago. People wouldn't have trusted putting their credit card details into a website 10 years ago, whereas now most people are quite comfortable in doing it as long as they know it's a legitimate website. What some of the things that you're going to find out about marketing online, and it's just some terms I'm throwing out here, is cloud-based storage and technology. Things are going on the cloud-based, and you're also going to find that there's a lot of traffic on the internet, and a high percentage of this is going to be concentrated on just a handful of few sites. Amazon.com is one. You're going to have eBay is another one. Facebook is another great place. YouTube, and of course the big hitter Google. That's the sites where a lot of the traffic is going to be. And some of the places you have to optimize for the search engines, but in other places the traffic comes to you, and in other places it's a matter of you generating a following in the likes of the social media sites. Some of the other terms that you're going to maybe hear being mentioned is the long tail or long tail search engine, long tail keywords, and this is where you're starting to sort of narrow down, and this is where you're really starting to refine your search. And it's how a lot of people get found in their business. Have you anything you'd like to add to that, Mark?
Well, yes. I mean, for example, if you go into the weight loss niche, it's highly competitive, and if you wanted to rank your content for the keyword weight loss, it would be extremely difficult. But if you go into a niche which is, say, weight loss for pregnant women, then you'll have much less competition. So, and with the growth of the internet, the long tail and the micro niches are becoming, the micro niches are getting more and more traffic. So, it is important to actually focus your business or your niche. Obviously, you need some sufficient traffic, but to start with, to focus so that you can compete. And so, the long tail is really quite important in terms of choosing which niche you're going to move into. And obviously from that micro niche you may actually expand out, but initially it's important to focus. And you know, I just remember when I went online, you know, I wanted to be sort of all things to all men, and it just doesn't work. You think, well, the bigger the niche, the more money I can make and the more traffic I can get, but obviously you're then up against some stiff competition, so you have to position yourself properly online in order to compete, and there are many strategies for doing that. Again, we're going to cover that in future sessions.
The same goes true, Mark, for any business that's wanting to go. They need to look at the keywords that they're targeting for their online presence. If they are, as you say, weight loss, and they are dealing with weight loss for pregnant women, well then they shouldn't be going after just the weight loss. Obviously, they'll go with that as well. But really what they want to do is they want to go for these long tail terms.
Yes.
Very specific terms that people are going to be searching for, and this is what's going to drive them the traffic to their site. And if they then grow this content base, then they'll start to compound the traffic that's going to be running through their sites. And that's another option for optimizing a site as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of where the IM is going, I think obviously Google wants to serve up the best possible content to its clients, so it's looking for focused authority sites that actually deliver expert content. They want to deliver the highest quality content they can to people searching online. So again, it's important to focus in order that you can become an expert in a particular area, the go-to person. So authority sites and quality content is extremely important, because if you put up spammy, low-grade content, Google is getting more and more sophisticated about how it can weed out the dross from the internet, and so in the short term you might be able to get some traffic and some benefit, but over the long term you could see your business disappearing as Google, and it's happened, hasn't it, time and time again, Chris?
It definitely has. It definitely has. And another thing that Google and is also innovative online, and a lot of businesses are not utilizing, is video itself. Video, the explosion of video, online video, is second to none. Additionally, one of the things that's very close to Mark and I's heart, and a lot of people and a lot of businesses can benefit from, is actually running Google Hangouts. Basically, by running a Google Hangout, they can then start to grow their brand by running a weekly show, just like what we're doing. They can use Google Hangouts, and Mark and I actually have a full course on this called the Hangout Cash Code. And in this course, we basically teach you how any business can take Google Hangouts, integrate them into their business, which is a form of video, and these are an explosive form of video that can be used within your business to grow your business, to expand your online presence, and obviously to start, you can use them to make money as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is very, very exciting technology, and previously the only way you could access it was by paying a considerable amount of money, and then Google comes along and sort of presents it on a plate for free. And you know, we know from our experience over the last 4 or 5 years that one of the highest converting ways to deliver content is through webinars and so on. And you know, as I say, Google have just basically lowered the barriers to entry so that anybody can actually you know, have access to this technology. And of course, at the moment there is a major opportunity because for early adopters, and I'm sure that obviously the competition in this area will become more and more intense as more people come alive to the opportunity, but at the moment it's a major opportunity, Chris.
Yeah, as I've already sort of mentioned, we are still in the pioneer stage of the internet, and sort of the internet's only just starting to expand now. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 10 or 15 years' time? It's just going to be mind-blowing, you know, the developments that's happened up to now. And basically, in my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, the high street is dead to a certain extent. People are not going to get out of their house put their clothes on to go up the town and buy a digital camera or whatever. They're going to do the research online. Then they're going to shop. They're going to research all the prices online as well, and they're going to look at where they can get the best deal. And generally, the best deals are going to be online. Not only that, but the other plus point is they're going to get this delivered directly to their door.
Yeah.
So they don't even have to go out of the house to purchase this product. And so it's going to go that way. Even the local supermarkets are going that way. They're offering an online service where you can go on, you can order all of your shopping, your grocery shopping, and they'll bring it out to you. You don't even go out of the house. So it's mind-boggling as to what's going to happen in future. But if you have any form of business, you have to basically look at your online presence and grow that and look at it like yesterday. You need to be on this now.
Yeah. I mean, in a minute, Chris, we'll just mention some stats because I've actually done a little bit of research, and it is you almost can't get your mind around just how this is the internet is going to explode over the next few years. It has had a massive growth in the last few years, but some of the figures, as I say, we'll come to that shortly. We are in the pioneering stage very much. There will be massive opportunity. There's many people that haven't yet even got online, and again, I've got some stats on that. But the other thing that's happening is that with the number of people now coming into the online business space, there's more and more plugins and software and more automation, apps, and smartphones and things that you can actually run your business from. So that the innovation, is just getting faster and faster all the time in this space. And we mentioned cloud-based storage, so that is another exciting area, and the increased computing power of our computers, our smartphones, and things like Google Glass coming along, mobile technology, nanotechnology. Really, these things are really sort of almost faster than we can comprehend. Daily, there's a new product coming onto the market almost. So it's very exciting, very fast moving, and there is a lot of opportunity going forward, in my opinion. Do you feel the same, Chris?
I definitely do. And one of the things that is what we say is explosion is the sort of direct response marketing, where people aren't using or learning this skill.
Yeah.
Basically, what everybody wants to do, and no matter what the business is, you want to obviously generate repeat custom. You want to stay in contact with your previous customers, and obviously you want to grow your customer base. And the best way to do that is through direct response marketing, obviously getting out on the social networks as well. But if you can somehow get these people's email addresses and then send them out an email saying, hey, I've got a special offer. It's only available for the next 24 hours, or I only have 100 units to sell. I know you purchased from me before. Here's an offer if you want to go. And if you can learn this skill alone with your business, no matter what the business is, you will see a major impact and a major positive impact in your business. Even if that, as I say, if that's a restaurant, you can get repeat customers. You can run a special offer, a family and friends night where there's a free bottle of wine with anybody, any party over the size of 8, or free wine for everybody, or whatever it is. Just something to treat these customers and say, look, you're special to me. You've purchased off me before. I would love to stay in contact with you. And this is an evergreen skill. If you can learn this, this is something that's, in my opinion, is never going to go away, because the amount of people that can now access their emails through their smartphones. And anybody that has a smartphone will know exactly what I'm saying. They more than likely have their major email accounts already attached to their smartphone, and they possibly search or check their emails several times a day. And if you're a local business that they know and respect, and you then send them out an offer, they're going to be interested. They're going to open up your email, and they're going to want to know basically what offers you have for them this week.
I think the other interesting thing about online marketing, Chris, compared to offline marketing, which we've both done in the past, is that with offline marketing, it was often difficult to know your return on investment from your marketing activity. So you'd spend some money, might buy a Yellow Pages ad or an ad in the newspaper, and often it was difficult to know, how many customers you got from that and whether they converted into, how much cash they converted into. The great benefit, to my mind, of online marketing is you can measure everything. Did you find that was a dilemma? You didn't know previously what return you were getting in your offline marketing. I never could really, you could ask the customer where they came from and so on, but it was often an inexact science. Whereas
I found, Mark, with our food-based business, one of the things that we would do, we would have changed the flyers or changed the menu slightly, and we'd have basically sent effectively a broadcast. But this was a mail shot around the town where we basically got our menus hand delivered into 10,000 doors around the town. And yes, we did get an explosion in sales and people coming to the business, but we didn't know which areas they were coming in from, which sort of local housing estates that we should have been focusing on, which areas maybe had the money or which were more affluent or had spare cash compared to other areas. So we weren't able to track this, whereas online you can use, there's reams of different tracking services out there, and you can track every element. And if you set this up correctly, you can basically see what's making you money and what's costing you money online. And obviously you're going to look at what's making you money and you're going to look to expand this. So that is a fantastic opportunity as well with working online.
Absolutely. A business is both an art and a science, and actually running your business by the numbers is critically important. Many people, particularly with my banking background, many people try to avoid the numbers. Typically, those are the businesses that don't survive. You really do have to run your business by the numbers and look at your management information system, so that the management information system there, which is producing the numbers and the output of the numbers, is there to support your decision making. And what we're saying here is that with online business, you can get pretty accurate and detailed numbers fairly easily, using tools like Google Analytics and so on. And just knowing how to set your management information system up online and what numbers you should be looking at. Again, this is something that we're going to have to cover in a future session because we haven't got time today, but it's certainly critical to actually running an online business.
So going from that then, Mark, want to discuss basically what opportunity there are with marketing yourself online, things you maybe want to consider when you're looking at marketing yourself online, and obviously things that you can do to expand and grow your business when you're marketing online.
Well, I think the first thing that we've already mentioned, Chris, is that the internet is obviously still growing quite rapidly. There is still, more and more people, certainly in the UK and in Europe and the States and so on, are alive to the opportunity, but there's still many businesses that don't have a website, that don't do anything online, and many, many more that do have a website but don't really know what they're doing. And I would say the vast majority, really, they think that if you put up a website that you're done and dusted online. You haven't even really started, to be honest, because there are so many websites, Chris, particularly in offline businesses, that actually get very, very little traffic at all. In fact, it wouldn't cover the cost of the investment in the website. There's still a lot of education that's needed to help small businesses and so on to understand exactly what they should and shouldn't be doing online.
One thing I would like to sort of say just at this point, Mark, is
yes.
a lot of businesses get drawn to a web designer and this web designer can put them up a very fancy looking, lovely graphical website that is super cool looking. But the simple fact is, this super cool website may or may not actually help your business. In a lot of cases, it won't help your business. It'll be a slow to load website. People won't know who you are. You know, your website's hard to navigate. That you maybe your website, that people don't understand what your website is. You need to make your website simple. You need to make it your brand, and you need people to know what they need to do when they hit your website. So if you're a restaurant, as I keep referring back to, you need a link straight away saying you're a restaurant, and here's a link to our menu, here's a link to our opening hours, and here's a link to about us or whatever. You need these simple things. So don't get drawn to a web designer that's going to offer you a website for £1,000 to £2,000. And really, at the end of the day, it's not exactly what your business needs. So you need to know what you need in a website before you look at designing and building your website.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And we're talking about where the opportunities are online, and that is a big opportunity. Actually, if you listen to our sessions, particularly, you'll actually know that many businesses need help in this area. So that's an opportunity to help others. And to provide done-for-you services to some businesses, or even to help them to outsource some of the work to experts in the area. So that's a major opportunity, is just helping these businesses that perhaps have had a lot of misinformation, are getting no traffic to their website at all. And as you say, once they get to the website, the traffic doesn't convert into leads or sales. And it's very sad, really, because millions and millions of pounds have been invested in websites and all this sort of thing, and it's just almost money down the drain, Chris, and a lost opportunity as well. That's more the point, the lost opportunity that the business hasn't had access to the traffic that really it should have had and was obviously wanting. So that's a critical area of opportunity. The other thing is, if you specialize, we've already mentioned it, if you specialize in an area and become the go-to expert, there's major opportunities all around the internet for experts in a particular area. And you could obviously choose your area of expertise, but if you do specialize, you need to make sure it's a long-term opportunity that's not going to disappear overnight. For example, if you base your whole business around, say, something like Facebook, and for some reason Facebook closed down, I'm not saying they're going to, but as I say, your business, in a sense, is built on somebody else's platform, and that potentially could be dangerous if the rules change or something happens, and they go in a different direction to the one you're going in. So specializing is important, but you have to choose your opportunity carefully.
There's also actually an opportunity online for innovation, where basically you can look at developing software. If you see a problem, either in your business or in somebody else's business, and you're a software developer, you can be innovative and come up with this. Additionally, you can become a designer online, even down to the fact of copywriting or teaching people how to market online. These are innovative sort of industries that are now appearing online. And these are services that people really, really need within their business. Many people don't even realize they need these services in a lot of cases. But if you can approach these businesses and say, look, I can double your sales by providing you with the correct sales copy. I know what you're trying to say, but you're just not connecting with your people, whereas I can change the wording in your copy and basically make this more about you and more about why people should buy from you. Basically, you can be innovative and provide these services if you're good at this. This is a fantastic opportunity for you. Either that or helping other people grow their business.
Yeah, I mean, the internet's a massive area of innovation. Daily we see creative ways in which marketers and businesses are creating solutions online is almost unbelievable, Chris. And you sometimes you have to admire the creativity of people and as I say, the opportunities, and they don't have to be large opportunities. It just needs to be an improvement on what's gone before. And that's so easy. Like in plugins and so on, you often see people sort of just improving what has gone before, and it's just incredible. So the other area of opportunity is the area of quality, I think, Chris, because there is a lot of dross on the internet, and quality always stands out. And so it's actually producing quality information, quality product, and really just having a high standard of quality, because nowadays, having a high quality design on your website is a real must. So really, it's really important. So
you also want to try and convey the high quality side of things. So if your business is delivering a high quality product, or you believe your product is of high quality or high standard, you want to try and ensure that this is conveyed on your website, so people, when they hit your website, they know that they're going to get a quality product. And that also rings true with the service that you provide on your website, your follow-up service, your customer service, even your sales procedure. Everything can all be done if you sit back and think about it. But quality doesn't always mean having a very nice looking website with nice images. It's the package, and people, you need to think about it from a customer's perspective, and not always your as a salesperson's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, just to sum up, there's an increasing number of devices that are accessing the internet. There are more internet users. There's faster broadband speeds. There's more video and video techniques coming online. And I looked at one of the forecasts made in 2013 by Cisco, Chris, and by 2017 there'll be more traffic traversing global networks than all prior internet years combined.
That's a pretty mind-blowing if you think about that, because the internet's been, 1997 or thereabouts is when it really took hold, so it's been online. By then it'll be online by 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And by 2017 they're estimating that there'll be 3.6 billion internet users, which is around about 48% of the world's projected population. And yet in 2012 there were 2.3 billion internet users. So in the space of 5 years, then it's going to sort of go up by half again. So from 32% of the world's population to 48% by 2017. Really, that demonstrates the ongoing growth. And they're estimating that the broadband speeds will increase by 3.5-fold over that 5-year period. So these are the opportunities, the growth opportunities, and as I say, they are massive, Chris.
And not only that, Mark, some of the things that you mentioned about broadband speeds and whatnot, there's more and more Wi-Fi hotspots coming up. I know this from being an iPhone user myself. Basically, the more areas you go to now, there's free Wi-Fi. There's internet is becoming one of those things where people just expect it. If they come into, even the likes of a restaurant or whatever, people nearly expect to have free Wi-Fi when they come into your building. Expect to be able to go on the internet whilst there, and it's another service that you may think of providing for people if you have a business, because it's nearly the expected nowadays. Just when you're mentioning these stats about broadband speeds and whatnot, Wi-Fi is another issue that's
absolutely, and they're actually, the interesting thing is that by 2017, that they're even with that growth, they're estimating that only almost half of the world's population will be connected to the internet. So it won't end in 2017, is what I'm saying. There's still more than half the world's population that will want to have access to the internet because they're at a total competitive disadvantage. and so the growth won't stop in 2007. It has to go on because, as I say, it's almost you're all, you know, I talked to my wife about this because she's yet to go online properly herself, and you're almost dyslexic. You're almost disadvantaged by not being able to access the internet. You're almost illiterate in a sense, aren't you, Chris? So that.
One of the key things here, Mark, and this is me. It's actually just came to me. I've obviously realised, but the thoughts just occurred to me. As you say, by 2017, this traffic's going to explode. Yeah. Part of the reason is because the kids today have grown up with nothing but the internet, whereas the older generations, the likes of my parents, and even people older. Now, I'm 40-year-old at the moment. People who are even 45, they're out of that technology loop. I'm just at the edge of it, where I was aware of the internet when I was younger. But anybody who's older, the internet's sort of a new thing, and maybe the struggle with computers. They didn't have computer lessons in school, and what they did have was basic Word, or word formatting. There was no such thing as sort of any in-depth IT. Whereas the kids nowadays, they're on the computer, they know what they're doing straight away, so they're leaning towards the internet anyway. They're used to the internet, and this, as they grow older and obviously grow and start to have their own bank accounts, start to become able to spend money online, well then that's a market that's totally untapped. And if you're there not waiting on them, but if you have a presence online when these guys get online and are able to spend money, the money online is just going to explode as well over time.
Absolutely, Chris. So there it is. We've gone through a little bit about our history, some of the challenges that we all face in internet marketing, and where we think online business is going for the future, and really just outlined some of the opportunities we think that there are that are coming forward in the next few years at least, and so. Really, we've got a lot to talk about in future sessions, Chris, and we're looking forward to delivering some great training and content, aren't we?
Yes, I totally agree with you, Mark. We have so much that we can cover, and we will be covering them. And obviously, if you happen to be listening to this and you want to know more, or even get sort of subscribed to us early, the place to find us is marketersradio.com. To find this particular show is going to be marketersradio.com/001. This is actually episode number 1, and it's our introduction into basically who we were, as Mark had said, and also the potential value that we can deliver and will be delivering in future sessions. And of course, we look forward to interacting with you either on the website, drop your comments in, or even find Mark Salmon or myself, Chris Cole, on Facebook. Would love to hear from you, and would love you to reach out to us and ask us any questions. So on that note, Mark, I think we should actually say goodbye for this session, and of course we'll look forward to speaking to everybody in the next session, and hopefully by then we'll have had some interaction and some feedback.
Okay, cheerio everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll speak to you again in the next session.
Yeah.